the many reasons why a lot of people think Facebook is a little silly. It's because there's a number called Dunbar's number that defines a person's maximum cognitive friend limit. It's the maximum number of relationships you can theoretically keep track of, from your family and best friends to the guy next door whose last name you can never quite remember. In the real world, they say that at max, that number is well below 200. I would be surprised if someone could show me that my sister Bobbie wasn't an exceedingly rare exception to that rule. But despite all the people who knew Bobbie and knew her well, I think a lot of people were never aware of how talented my sister really was. She had an almost terrifying force of will. I remember how, when I was little, I knowingly told her that she could be whatever she wanted to be when she grew up. It was one of the only times I think she ever paid attention to what I was saying. I remember the look on her face. She was just a little girl then, but I don't think Bobbie would have ever gotten too old to believe there was anything she couldn't do. She learned to ride a bike before I did, and in only about 30 seconds after she decided she wanted to, and with no one's help, Becky saw her do it, my other sister. Said she just propped the bike up against a parked car, hopped on, and pushed off the car door. Bobbie also managed to deliberately and obstinately avoid learning how to do algebra for 25 years. An equally impressive feat. But she did figure even that out sometime within the last few months of her life. Because she thought it couldn't hurt. As a teenager, she could read faster than I could, than I still can maybe. I don't think she even knew that. And she never even cared for books that much. Bobbie was artistic and creative. Raya and Vanessa, and all her childhood friends, remember how she could make all kinds of crazy outfits or just stuff lying around the house. I once saw her sew a handbag out of nothing except for Capri Sun juice boxes in the afternoon. I don't know what happened to that bag. She had a genuine sort of kindness, not born out of any grand moral ideal or even from how she wanted to be perceived. She just wanted the people she loved to have fun and to be happy. The last thing she told my cousin Kelly was that she just didn't want everyone to be sad. One of the last things my mother, our mother, heard her say, and as far as I know, maybe the last time she ever tried to raise her voice, is that she just didn't want everyone to fight. But my sister's greatest talent by far was in making friends. And in caring for and being cared for by more people than I could ever hope to keep track of. They say that if you consider how many people each of us is connected to through a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, you can take any two random people anywhere on the planet and show that they are, on average, only 7 degrees of separation, 7 friends apart. That is mind-blowing. But I think if everyone could make friends the way Bobbie could, the world would feel a lot more like family. That's why it's even harder to stand up here and try to tell all of you who my sister was. And I thought it would be. She was my little sister. She was my first companion. And my oldest friend. But all the stories I have to Bobbie, all the stories that any one of us has is just a drop in a sea of stories that describe Roberta Marie Salisbury. When I first heard Bobbie passed, it was in a message from my mother that read simply, "Bobbie's with God now." Other ways of saying something like that, honestly, it always seemed, at best, a little clumsy to me. But that phrase, "Bobbie's with God now," there's poetry in those 4 words. Because as I look at the faces of people my sister loved, I know that each of us is thinking about what those words mean. And not any of us are thinking quite the same thing. The author Salman Rushdie once said, "Man is the storytelling animal." That's a tough job, being a storytelling animal. It's hard to find meaning, to write stories, to find closure, when all the plot threads of someone's life you've been following seem to be suddenly cut off and left to fray. I count myself lucky that the last few moments I had